You could build an amazing pooper scooper business and still lose everything. And not because of bad marketing or lazy employees, it's because you made silly legal mistakes that you didn't even realize were mistakes in the first place. I've personally and through my businesses probably spent over $100,000 in legal fees over the last couple of years dealing with a variety of nightmare situations. In this video, I'm going to break down some of the top legal risks to your pooper scooper business and some tactics and tips that you can do to mitigate those risks. Let's get into it. For those who don't know, my name is William. I'm the president of a multi-seven-figure pooper scooper business in the Pacific Northwest and the founder of the Poop Scoop Millionaire community on School. Before we get too much further, I just want to make a quick disclaimer. I'm not an attorney. I've not passed the bar. I don't know your personal situation. So if you do have a legal issue or question that come up, please make sure you talk to an actual attorney or somebody that specializes in that. This video is for entertainment purposes only. So with that out of the way, I want to go over some of the biggest risks that pooper scoopers can encounter within their business, at least from my perspective. That's going to be trademark infringement, which I see happening more and more and more, which can absolutely wipe out your business overnight. You have not setting up your legalities property. That includes an LLC, making sure you have enough insurance coverage to protect yourself. Then thirdly, issues with driving around a lot. There's a lot of auto liability, as well as hiring employees and the extra liability that brings to your business as well. So I'm going to go over some tips and tricks and things that we've learned along the way to kind of help mitigate some of these risks. But as I mentioned, if you're unsure about anything, contact your own lawyer. So the first one, and this is one that I'm seeing a lot more common, especially as new scoopers are getting into the industry, and that's accidental trademark infringement. There's a lot of companies out there, and there's a lot of companies even like us that have been around for years and years and years, and we have federal trademarks on our name and other intellectual property. So I see a lot of new scoopers coming in thinking they got a great name picked out, but they don't realize somebody else has a trademark on their name, or at least a name that is similar enough to cause confusion with customers, and that could potentially lead to cease and desist and lawsuits. We've actually been through one ourselves. It's not a fun experience. So a couple ways to go about avoiding this, or at least mitigating some of the risks that you might have. Number one, you're going to want to make sure you go to the USTPO, which is the United States Patent and Trademark Office, and you're going to want to do a search for your name, variations of that name, just to see if there's any active or pending trademarks that are coming through on the USTPO. One thing that is really important about this is just because your exact name isn't already trademarked, it doesn't mean there's not a company with a similar enough name that might feel like you're infringing on their rights. So it's just something to keep in mind if you are confused or you're not sure what to do, or you need help doing a more advanced search. I highly recommend you check out a trademark attorney. We have a great one in the Poop Scoop Millionaire that you can talk to if you have issues. Number two, you're going to want to do a simple Google search and social media search. So if you have a great name, you're going to want to Google it, make sure nobody else has a similar name picked out. You're going to want to go to social media profiles, Facebook, Instagram, wherever a pooper scooper might be advertising their service. You're going to want to see if somebody already has that name. And finally, you're going to want to make sure that you can get the exact match domain. So this isn't necessarily a requirement for picking out your name, but I highly recommend it for marketing purposes, because if you have a super easy, super memorable name that people can easily type into Google, swoopscoop.com, for example, it's going to really help your marketing efforts. So another thing I do want to mention about this, we've had a lot of people use our name, we've had a lot of people use our exact website, and it's not necessarily personal, but for us, if we don't protect our trademark, or if another trademark holder doesn't enforce their trademark, they are at risk of losing it. So in a lot of cases, they don't have a choice but to start taking legal action. So it's just something to consider as you pick out your name. So probably one of the easiest things that you can do to protect yourself and your business and your personal assets is setting up a LLC. So I actually know from firsthand experience, this isn't something I really talk about very much, but over the last year or so, we bought a brand new construction home that had some major building defects, and my entire family was exposed to massive levels of mold. We've all personally been sick. We've had to evacuate the house. My dog's eyes swelled shut and he died a couple months later once we were able to find a new place to live. So it's a really nasty situation. There's ongoing litigation, and one of the people involved in the lawsuit and involved in the construction of the home, they did let their LLC lapse seemingly, which could open them up to personal liability, which could be a very big deal. So I don't want to talk specifics about our case, but I do want to put that information out there just to let you know that we are going through this right now, and the implications can be severe, especially if you don't have enough insurance coverage to cover the judgment. So as I mentioned, I can't go into specifics about my personal situation right now, but in general, if you don't have an LLC or you don't have enough business insurance to cover whatever damages that you created, if there's a judgment that's against you from some kind of a lawsuit, you're going to be open to some personal liability. So in general, if you have a judgment against your business, they can garnish your bank accounts, they can force you to sell business assets, vehicles, things like that. And if you don't have an LLC or some kind of protection to protect you personally, they can also start coming after your personal assets as well, whether that's personal bank accounts, whether that's personal vehicles. And in some states, they can even come in and force the sale of your personal residence to pay those debts. And that's why it is so important to make sure that you have these business formalities set up the correct way, not only setting them up in the first place, but also maintaining them, making sure you're doing everything you need to do on an annual basis. So this next part is usually reserved just for Poop Scoop Millionaire members, but I believe in setting up your LLC correctly so strongly that I'm going to share this discount with everybody watching this video as well. And that's going to be 35% off business formation services with Taylor Brands. Not only will you get a discount, they're also going to give you up to a $50 Amazon gift card. So if you're just getting started, that's perfect to go buy your equipment. And I'm taking it a step even further. If you get your LLC with the link below, I'm also going to give people their first month of Poop Scoop Millionaire for free if they end up joining. So it makes getting your LLC cost just a few dollars. I mean, it's as close to free as I could possibly get it. And I highly recommend that you get this set up the correct way. If you don't, it can open you up to massive liability. Other cool thing about Taylor Brands, just real quick, if you're looking to get started fast, they do have expedited LLC processing, so you can get in a couple days. And they can do other things as well, like get your EIN, they can get you set up with a website, things like that. Totally not required for the promo that I just told you guys about. So if you just get your LLC, that's the most important thing. But do know there are other services available there as well. So the next big risk, and this is honestly a really common risk that can come up, especially the bigger you get, is going to be your auto liability. So for us, we have over 20 vehicles. They're out on the road. We have a ton of employees. They're driving all over the place. And sometimes they don't do the best job at driving, and accidents can happen. Not only can you cause damage to other people's vehicles, but you can also cause medical damage to people as well. And with the way things are now, those numbers can add up really quickly. So if you don't have the proper insurance coverage, you could be leaving yourself open to some major liability. And as I mentioned before, if you get into a really nasty accident and people get really hurt, I mean, sometimes that can even exceed your insurance policy limits. So you want to make sure that you have as much insurance as possible so you can avoid anything like that happening to you and your business, and you can stay protected. So another major liability that not just pooper scooper companies have, but almost any business, is going to be hiring employees. All of a sudden, you're not just responsible for yourself and what you do, but you're also responsible for what your employees do within your business as well. So a couple common things I see that come up quite a bit. Number one is going to be misclassifying employees. If you hire somebody on as a 1099, maybe you want to save a little bit of money in taxes, but you treat them like a W-2, that could open you up to some potential liability. It could open you up to an audit and having to pay a significant amount of money in back taxes. The other thing that's going to be important to keep in mind is, just like auto insurance, depending on what state you live in, you're going to need to get workers' comp insurance as well. If somebody goes out, they get bit by a dog, they get hurt while they're working, they slip and they tweak their back, you could potentially be liable for that, and you want to make sure that you have that coverage in place. And as I mentioned before, medical expenses can get very expensive very fast, so you'll want to make sure that you are protected. Aside from that, a couple other things that you can do to help protect yourself is to get an employee handbook. You should have all your policies and procedures in place. You want to make sure you're not doing anything illegal. You're going to want to make sure you are HR compliant and just following the rules of the region that you're in, because if you do make a mistake, it can open you up to potential liability. And that's why it's so important to have not only your insurance, but also have an LLC in place just to shield your personal life from any mistakes that you might make in your business. So when it comes to running a pooper scooper business, or any business for that matter, you're going to have a lot more risk than if you were just working a W-2 job somewhere else. You got all the things we talked about, from trademarks to auto liability to not setting up your business structure the correct way. And honestly, there are some risks out there. You can do a lot of things to mitigate them, but because of that risk is also why owning your own business gives you extra freedom and also unlimited earning potential the bigger you are able to grow your business. So hope this video helped you. If I haven't scared you off from wanting to start a pooper scooper business, or any business for that matter, I highly recommend you check out our $0 to $100,000 pooper scooper guide. It's 100% free right here on YouTube. And if you are ready to take that next step and start your business, I highly recommend you start by getting your LLC. I'll put the link down in the description. And if you want extra help, feel free to join the Poop Scoop Millionaire. We'll be happy to help with whatever we can. All right, hope you guys have a great day, and happy scooping.